Hello YouTube, it's the Frog Queen here with a brand new weekly interview. I aim to give at least one interview a week with a comic book or graphic novel creator. This week I'm talking to Jeremy Holt, an up-and-coming writer I've had the pleasure of knowing for a couple years now. Today Jeremy and I talk about his new 4-part miniseries, Skip to the End, which debuts August 31st from Heavy Metal magazine. So without further ado from me, who by the way was very sick during this interview, this is Jeremy Holt. Let's talk about Heavy Metal magazine. So you have a, I guess it's a short story, technically, in Heavy Metal magazine that's coming out this month. Is it this month?
Actually, Heavy Metal magazine has its own comic book line, which was supposed to, they've been putting out comics sporadically in the last year. It was supposed to officially launch last summer, but there was delays because of someone within the company got very sick, and he was kind of managing all the books, and everything got put on hold. So they kind of revamped everything like earlier this year. So the comic I'm doing is a 4-issue miniseries that is separate from the magazine. So it'll come out like a normal 22-page comic. And yeah, it's supposed to be in shops on the 31st of this month.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, for some reason I thought it was, I guess when I read your original email that it was going to be in the magazine, but that's cooler that it's like standalone, stands for itself. Yeah. That's awesome. So when I read it, I was kind of like, whoa, I'm getting some serious 90s flashbacks.
That's the intention. That's at least my intention.
Is the main character there based on Kurt Cobain? Was that intentional, or? Yeah,
so the main character, the story focuses on the bassist, which I've modeled after Chris Novoselic of Nirvana. So everything that happens within this story is loosely based off of actual events from the band's history. However, I didn't really want to use the Cobain character as the protagonist because I think that there's a lot of history with him, and I think there's a lot of opinions on, his life as a rock star, his life off the stage. So I wanted to focus on someone I thought that was more accessible, so I just fictionalized the band, created a new band name, gave them all new names, and focused on the bassist, who I think is perhaps the least well-known out of the surviving members. So I thought that would be a good jumping-on point for readers. So you don't have to be a Nirvana fan to get the references, but if you are, it's kind of like a homage or what have you. So
yeah. No, that's awesome. So the 4-part series, you said, right?
Yep.
4-part limited series. How did you get involved with publishing through Heavy Metal?
It was kind of by accident. He's not their production editor anymore, but their production editor was Tim Daniel, who Tim and I have collaborated on comics before. So we co-wrote Skin through Monkey Brain. Right. He's got a bunch of stuff through Boom. So when he got asked to be the production editor and do all the designs for both the magazine as well as the comics, I had sent him a PDF of Skip to the End for him to just enjoy. Like, he didn't need to do anything with it, but he liked it enough, and he's a huge Nirvana fan, that he was like, hey, this would be great at Heavy Metal. So he kind of passed it along to Jeff Krelitz, who's the CEO, and that's kind of where it happened. It took a while for things to happen because I think I gave the PDF to Tim late last year, and it took Jeff maybe 3 or 4 months to get back to me on it. I kind of got the green light like end of December, January, and then I just started kind of promoting it and getting production up and going with the creative team I have. So
awesome.
Yeah, it was unexpected.
That's cool, though. I think, a lot of things in comics kind of happen like that, I find. Like, it's not like, this is what, your 4th comic series now? The 4th one you've worked on?
Yep.
Yeah, published one, yeah. I find, like, a lot of things just kind of, go by luck almost, it seems, or it's like a lot of it's timing, I'm sure. But
it's all timing.
When I talk to people, like, as you know, all the creators I talk to, a lot of them are like, yeah, I just got lucky this one time and my stuff got published. But people will beat their heads at this game for years sometimes, before getting one comic series published. It's interesting how that happens. But, I mean, I hope that this means, like, a lot of good things for you, like working with heavy metal. I mean, they've been around forever. The magazine, of course, has had its ups and downs over the years, especially in the 2000s there. But, yeah, that's exciting, though. Do you have any plans of moving ahead with anything new after this release? I know that you've always got so much on the go.
Yeah, I've actually spent, I'd say, the better part of this year working on a novel. So that's way more time consuming than writing comics. As long as I have like a plot down, I could script an issue in like 2 or 3 days. But trying to get through a 70 to 80,000 word manuscript is like, it's a completely different game. So that has been a major shift for me to kind of get into. But it's been a lot of fun, and I like, as a writer, I like being by myself. I like sitting in a room by myself and just having my thoughts to play with. So, writing a novel for me is a lot more natural than writing a comic in some ways, because there's nobody depending on it for me to finish, to get it done. It's all on me. I have an agent, so he's, prepping to shop it around this fall. But as far as comics, I have a series that it'll be a graphic novel series, so it'll be complete graphic novels. It should be a trilogy. It's going to get announced next summer.
Oh, cool.
Which is when the first book comes out. And then I'm working right now on the second book, which should be hopefully slated for the fall.
All right.
Next year. So, yeah, it's the first time I've had a kind of a long format project presented to me. So that's, some new challenges. Like, how do I extend a story beyond 5 issues is new territory. It's fun.
That's awesome. Oh, I wanted to ask you who the artist is on your current run. I can't remember his name.
So that, Alex Diotto.
Thank you.
So he and I did a series through Action Lab Southern Dog. So
okay.
I've worked with him for a while. So when I pitched him the idea, this is like 2 years ago, he loved it. I mean, he's a young guy, like he's 22, I think. So he didn't really grow up with the 90s rock music. So it was fun kind of sending him references, photo references, and like a lot of information, a lot of research I was doing to get him kind of in the mindset of that decade.
Cool. I keep forgetting, for me, I guess because we grew up in the 90s, we know grunge. We're grunge kids, so it's almost weird to think that today's youth, don't have that kind of ability to look back on something like Nirvana and understand what that was all about. I don't know, for me it's like, it's Nirvana. It's like still a household name to me, but it's not to today's
it's weird
generation.
Because I work at a middle school, so I interact with much younger kids, and like, to them that's considered classic rock, which is weird to me because it's like, it makes sense. Like, it totally is classic rock to them. To them, that's what their parents listen to. And then it makes me think I'm really old. But what I like about that time period, especially that kind of grunge explosion in the early 90s, was that, music was so different back then. You didn't have listeners didn't have the access they do now with music. Like, today, any kid could go on the internet and listen to any song that they could think of.
Yeah.
Just anything is at their fingertips. Back then, you only were given whatever you found on the radio, whatever you walked into a store and bought. So access was extremely limited. So there was a different influence when it came to being really big and popular and successful. Like, you actually had to do something different.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff I kind of miss. But at the same time, I do like having access to all the music I want. So
I know, it's weird. Like, sometimes, sometimes I miss much music. I mean, I miss much music from 1992.
yeah.
But, sometimes I'm like, but I look at all the amazing bands I've discovered since the dawn of, Napster.
Yeah.
Like that changed the lives of hardcore music fans. I mean, of course, with me, I really liked your comic too, not just because of the fact that it is talking about, grunge music and music I grew up with, but because I played in bands through most of my, teens and then 20s.
Oh, awesome.
So I was, I really appreciate that quality of like watching bands kind of like that hardcore touring and the grind and that sort of stuff. That resonates with me. I get that. And like the, disappointment and stuff that goes along with trying to put out records and be a part of a horribly failing industry. So, and then, there's also the drugs and stuff, that's a subculture of being in bands, especially alternative bands, and alcohol, drugs, that stuff, it's just, it's there, it's at the clubs, you're always around it, whether you're using it or not, it's still there. Sure. So, you kind of watch people in your life fall apart, and so your comic had that quality to it where it was like very raw. I mean, we all know what happened to Kurt Cobain anyway, that's not the point, but it had all that rawness to it, so I was like, oh, I can really appreciate this.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the idea for the book stemmed from just this idea I've had for as long as I can remember, which is, I think everybody has a collection of songs in their life that take them somewhere as soon as they hear it. And to me, that is the closest form of time travel I may ever experience in my life. And using that as a concept, it's like, what if there was something that could allow you to literally go back to that moment? Mm-hmm. So, the protagonist comes in contact with a guitar that allows him to travel back in time. And it's the story, in a lot of ways, is it's less about what it's like to be a famous rock star as it is to see the different types of addiction and the different forms of addiction. Mm-hmm. Because, he is addicted to drugs, and that's something that can happen to just about anybody. But it's about what he does from that and how he moves on and how he finds sobriety. And but music as a form of time travel is really what I wanted to kind of explore. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I mean, you hear a song on the radio and it takes you back to a place, a time and place, wherever, maybe it's just wherever you first heard that song or whatever, it's not something you're going to forget. And maybe you're not always aware of the trigger, but it's there, right? Well, I'm sorry, Jeremy. I'm so sick. I have to cut this short so that I don't throw up on my computer.
No, that's okay.
Thank you so much for talking to me today. I'm totally leaving that in the video. I'm just me talking about bombing on my computer.
I respect that you powered through this.
I know. I'm so sorry. Oh, but I'd definitely love to have you back on my new YouTube channel. This whole Frog Queen thing I'm trying. And I want to read issue 2 for sure. So do you have a schedule of when they're all coming out, the issues?
Kind of the end of each month, starting this month.
Okay, great. What's the release date?
The release date for issue 1 is the 31st. Okay. And then I think after that's like the 25th of next month and the 27th of the month after that. So it's the last Wednesday of every month.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to go make love to the toilet.
Enjoy, and I will talk to you later.
Okay.
All right, bye.
See ya.